We don't know what these guys are going to be up to qualifying.
That's right, because this is an impound race. Now, we're told that some of these teams may have disconnected the alternator belt or the rear end pump belt, done some other things they're going to have to come in and fix on the pace lap for max speed. Now, here's Michael McDowell from Phoenix. Dave Blaney has driven this number 66 car for Prism Motorsports since Terry Labonte ran it in the Daytona 500, but Blaney has a family commitment this weekend, so McDowell is in the car, and then Blaney will be back in it.
And I think that family commitment is his son Ryan Blaney is racing somewhere.
But now this car yesterday made some single car qualifying runs, and his best lap was a 52.18. So they're going to have to do a whole lot to get this bad boy up to pole quality.
Yeah, based on that practice, Mike, most of these 10 go or go homers did focus on single runs.
Right.
It appeared that Michael McDowell and the 4 car Eric McClure that we showed earlier sitting on pit road, those seem to be the 2 cars that they've got to find some speed.
If he's 32nd right now, that's going to be a pretty sporty first lap. That's going to be equal to what Stremme ran. So if he gets the usual pickup, he could be in the low 20s.
I don't think he's going to get the usual pickup, though.
Yeah.
Well,
51.80.
that's not bad.
It's not a bad first lap at all.
But he didn't really corkscrew it either. I mean, he left a little bit on the table there on that coming on that first lap.
Yeah, turns 1 and 2, he was way up by the wall, but he's
then he
lower
kind
down
of dropped down a little bit in 3 and 4, which is going to give us a false indicator of just how good he's going to be.
But I think this is the biggest unknown about this qualifying session. You know, normally we don't anticipate at most racetracks that our go or go homers are going to really rip off a possible pole winning lap. But I mentioned it earlier, how aggressive did these 10 teams get with qualifying oils, with qualifying lubricants? He's really not going to pick up a whole lot of
No,
he didn't.
fell way off.
Think about it. Yesterday, his best time was 52.18, so that's a nice pickup from his single car run yesterday. But I'm not sure it's enough to get him where he wants to be.
Nope, half a second better than practice, but he's 31st overall. 2 drivers go home from this group. Now, if Montoya hangs on, he will join a very short list of drivers who have their only career pole at Talladega, according to Bill Sloboda, who looked this up. Travis Kvapil is the only other driver to have a Talladega pole but never win a pole anywhere else in Sprint Cup racing.
And that was just recently that he sat on the pole here.
Joe Nemechek has 4 poles at this racetrack, including this race last year.
I'm getting the word that Juan Pablo Montoya maybe got tired of us watching him, so he went inside the motor coach to watch qualifying. A little cooler inside the motor coach too, I'm sure.
He's going in and change clothes, boys. He's getting to see how he looks for his photo op.
And Joe was a busy man yesterday. He did the 2 practice sessions here, and then he hopped on an airplane to go back to Mooresville, North Carolina to join his 9-year-old daughter at a father-daughter dance last night, and then came back here this morning.
Their school, that's a big annual event at Davidson Day, and I'm sure he and Blair had a great time. And here he's back to qualify this car and run the nationwide race.
I went to a father-daughter dance with my 11-year-old daughter Kendall back in January. Those little girls, they're like dancing machines. It's like I'd look at her and say, can we not take a little bit of a break here for a second?
You were a one and done kind of guy.
Woo.
Yeah.
Solid 3 hours, never stopping.
Joe's going to have to pick it up. This lap right here is just not showing a lot of speed. 35th, 51.90 for Joe.
But you did see he ran pretty high, Mike, and you can see all the way to the bottom. Just look at this tracker now.
Wow.
Right now, it looks like they've gotten pretty aggressive with this setup. Felipe Lopez, Derek Finley in that group.
He just said, look at this tracker now. And I thought Juan Montoya's head poked out of his motor coat.
Well, now it's tailing off.
This is going to be a great run for Joe. The only 2 races they have missed, and they just barely missed the Daytona 500 on speed, but they didn't race their way in. They missed Texas a few weeks ago.
Well, on a single car run yesterday, he ran a 51.16.
Darrell, I get a feeling with you seeing this thing losing like that, it's maybe getting a little too hot on water temperature possibly.
Could be a little hot, and I haven't noticed, have we picked up any sort of wind that could be affecting these cars?
Joe Nemechek is 14th overall. He will certainly race here tomorrow. Scott Riggs driving for Tommy Baldwin in an unsponsored Toyota. He's on a flyer. His first lap of 51.94. And that second lap flirted with the top 10 and now drops back just a bit. But it's going to be solid.
But you just think about this. Put this in perspective. Joe Nemechek ran a 51.10, and we figure he's pretty full-blown qualifying, close to it. Think about Montoya, what he would run if he was full-blown qualifying.
Yeah.
He'd be in the 50, probably flat range. 50-20 range.
Chad Canals told me, and of course Chad I'm sure is not very happy with his qualifying run, but he told me he felt like that they were leaving about 3/4 of a second at least on the table.
Wow.
By things that they're not doing because they're having to qualify with their race setup.
And it is an impound race, so the teams cannot touch the cars after qualifying except for air pressure, very limited things. Now Riggs is 18th with a 51.23. That's very solid. And it does lock Joe Nemechek into the field. Only 2 drivers go home. It would have been 3. Todd Bodine, or Jeff Bodine, was entered in the Larry Gunselman car, but without a sponsor. The Gunselman organization decided they could not afford the freight for the engine lease for this event, which can run as high as 6 figures. So they thought they better concentrate on the regular non-restrictor plate races, and they'll be back in action next week at Richmond. David Gilliland for the Racers Group, TRG Motorsports. Now they're without a sponsor this week, but decided that they would come to Talladega and try to continue to work their way back into the top 35.
This car could run pretty good because it has those Earnhardt Childress racing engines in them.
Steve.
Well, Joe Nemechek, the good news is you're locked in, but just heard you say you thought you could go faster.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. They said that the lap tracker had us on pole till we came off of 2, and down the backstretch it just seemed like it slowed down a little bit. So I don't know if it's a wind or who knows in these plate races. I mean, there's so many things we do in the garage to try and pick up speed. If one of them isn't quite right, it can hurt it. So just got to thank all my guys still trying to find sponsorship for our car. Get a partner on here for a small amount, and we'll give them a good show on Sunday.
Joe, is it a fine line? Can you be too aggressive? Obviously, you have to make the show, but can you be too aggressive and hurt your race performance?
Well, there's certain things you can do that'll definitely are more risky than others. And if you go a little too far, with just like with your oils, if you go a little too far, you're going to end up burning a gear or transmission or something like that up. I don't think we went that far. You know, we're trying to be conservative on all that because we're planning on running a whole race. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. You know, you go through, you got to get all your height set. You got to put NASCAR's restrictor plate on. You got all the things that have to make it even for everybody. And evidently something went wrong somewhere a little bit.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I think Joe might be right, though, because when I keep looking for a flag to get a judge off of it looks like he might have a little headwind coming down the back, particularly about halfway down, sort of a crossing, maybe into turn 3, a little bit of a wind over there, and that does affect these cars big time.
And David Gilliland, he's flirting there. You see the flag that's down in turn 4, and for most of this qualifying session, it's been hanging straight down, but it's starting to move around a little bit. But David Gilliland, he keeps flirting with that little green line, which that little green line represents Scott Riggs in the 36 car. So this could be good news for Scott Riggs.
David's going to be okay. 23rd with a 51.30. That does lock Riggs into the race. So Scott will race here tomorrow for 500 miles. And Gilliland would be the next driver to lock in based on what happens with Scott Speed, Eric McClure, Regan Smith, Max Pappas, Jeremy Mayfield, and Brad Keselowski.
Now I'll be anxious to see if Scott Speed does the same thing that his teammate Brian Vickers did. Remember, Brian Vickers was one of the cars that ran real low on lap 1 and just didn't pick up that much from lap 1 to lap 2.
Speed right up against the outside wall on his get up to speed lap, as everyone else has been. 6 drivers to go, 2 go home, 8 qualify, no champions provisional in play. And right now, the 2 slowest of the 4 that have gone are Gilliland and McDowell. We're pretty sure Gilliland's speed is good enough to get him in the race. McDowell is going to be a bit nervous as these next 6 cars run.
Scott had a rough speed weeks. He was a victim of a lot of the situations, but he had to crash in the Budweiser shootout, the crash in the Gatorade Dual qualifying race, and then got caught up in a wreck in the Daytona 500 as well.
One ex-Formula One driver on pole right now and one ex-Formula One driver on track.
I guess the way you run a car at Talladega is it's not crabbed out, it's tucked in.
Okay.
You got the back of it tucked in here to get the downforce out of the car, whereas the other racetracks we crab the back out or skew the back out to get downforce on the car.
Well, in almost all cases, old car, new car, it works against each other. If you increase downforce, which is what you want at 20 of our 22 racetracks, you hurt the drag. But if you help the drag, you hurt the downforce. So there's, as I always say, there's no free lunch in aero.
And you can see this thing's pretty well tucked in with the back of the car, rear of the car kind of turned to the left just a little bit. And what you're trying to do is hide that rear blade. In this case, a wing. You're just trying to hide that from the wind.
Hey, that's a really good first lap. That is a faster first lap than both of our front row drivers, Montoya and Biffle. So Scott Speed is in a hurry.
And that tracker just keeps coming down. And Mike, he did run the high line on lap 1. So that's a really good first lap.
Scott Speed's going to lock himself into this show.
No question. He keeps creeping toward the top 5. So he's definitely working on becoming the fastest Toyota.
Sweeps off a 4. Let's see if he cuts the tri-oval down to the apron. Right against the grass. It's going to be a great lap.
It's going to be top 10 for sure. 7th.
And the hot tip
Good
here,
lap.
cutting down on that apron.
50.98 for Scott Speed. He will race tomorrow. So 5 drivers to go, and Gilliland and McDowell still in the bottom 2.
If you make this race, if you just make this race, start 43rd, you're going to take home 80 grand. And that's if you finish dead last. The winner's going to take home a little over $250,000, and they got a $6.1 million purse here. So it's a good paying race.
Eric McClure hopes to be in it in the Morgan McClure number 4, trying to make the team's first start since November 2007, but his lap of 52.03 may not be quick enough. He will lock David Gilliland into the race. Mark Martin drove for Morgan McClure here in 19.
I'm going to be interested. This little car right here is a good car to watch because, you know, he sat on the pole here last year. And the National Day of Prayer car, that's Shirley Dobson's organization. Her husband, Dr. Dobson, he has the focus on the family, but they're 2 different organizations. So National Day of Prayer is an institution all of its own.
You know, this team last week at Phoenix, they qualified 9th and showed it wasn't a fluke. The first third of the race ran right up there in the front. Once things started happening on pit road, they got behind, but they had a really good car last week at Phoenix.
And the owner of this car, Barney Visser, he is a big supporter of the National Day of Prayer program.
To make the race, Regan Smith has to beat a 51.66.
Well, yesterday he ran a 51.19, and that was a single car run.
Right. Although in his interview earlier, he said he wasn't sure if they had enough speed.
Well, let me tell you what they're going to do. I think they're going to lock themselves in on lap 1. That this is going to show you how good of a lap they're going to have.
But he's not rim riding. I mean, he's got a nice, he's up there middle of the upper part of the racetrack, but he's not up against the wall. So we're probably going to, this first lap might be a little deceiving.
Right. He may not pick up as much on his second lap. This is going to be a great first lap. Again, it's going to go ahead and lock him into the show. The second lap is just going to be a bonus for him.
30th.
51.45 on lap 1, by far the fastest first lap.
And if he'd have been a little higher and run that lap, Larry, I'd be jumping up and down for him right now. I'm just not sure if we're going to see that great big pickup that we've seen from the other cars.
No, but he's a quarter of a second faster than Montoya's first lap, and Montoya's on pole. Here we go to the left.
Just keeps coming down, going down that back straightaway.
It's a slick piece when it'll pick up speed down the straightaway like that.
Now, as long as he doesn't lose speed through 3 and 4, we'll see if he can pick up some of that speed coming down the front straightaway.
Lost a little bit off of 4 there.
Well, and Darrell, I think we've made a note that I think the wind's playing with these cars just a little bit now, but this is going to be a great run for this 78 car. I think he will be the fastest of the go homers.
6th for Regan Smith, 50.96.
Very nice. Very nice.
Misses the pole by less than 1/10 of a second.
And the car from about turn 3 on lost a little bit of speed all the way down, as if things had heated up to the point of not making quite as much power.
And this car on the pole last year, here we are 6th today. This driver who could have easily won his first race right here last year.
Right.
In this car, they get everything changed over here on their first caution flag, first pit stop. That car has a shot at winning this race.
Guarantee it does.
Steve? Still the bottom 2, Michael McDowell and Eric McClure. Road racer Max Pappas.
See, here's where drivers are really good at math. Let's just think about this. Owner probably spends a couple $100 grand to come down here and run this race. Pays $80 grand to start. The driver gets half of the $80 grand. So the owner spends $250,000. He gets, the car wins $80 grand if it makes the race. The driver gets half of the $80 grand. He doesn't have to pay half of what it costs to get out here. Drivers are pretty smart when you think about it.
And I think the moral of this story, for an owner to break even, he's pretty much got to get a part of that winner's share.
That's right.
Or have a whole lot of the space on that car filled up with decals from paying customers.
Now, Max Pappas is attempting to make his first start in anything here at Talladega. He's only run at Daytona and Talladega once. He ran an IROC race at Daytona a couple years ago.
And how'd that turn out? Not too good, as I recall.
I don't think it was a good outing.
It was a lid lifter. Geico Toyota, first lap for Pappas.
Now, they've made both the races they've attempted this year. They made Las Vegas and they made the race at Texas a few weeks ago.
52.03. That should allow him to run pretty much about the same time as Gilliland on his second lap.
Yeah,
so
because
top 30 or something.
He pretty well was up against the wall on that first go around.
Now, the little green chiclet right here, right now, the little green stripe, that represents Michael McDowell, who right now is 36th at a 51.66. So I think Max is going to be in good shape to make his third start of 2009. And then Max, what are you going to do then?
Oh boy, hadn't seen anything like this, I can guarantee you. So it will be a learning experience.
I think you're right, Mike. He's going to run about the same speed as David Gilliland, first and second lap.
And a good lap for Max. 27th, 51.35, very close to Gilliland. He is in the show. But Max didn't get to do any drafting practice. He was doing single car runs, so tomorrow should be really interesting for him. Jeremy Mayfield about to complete his run in the big red Toyota. First lap of 52.02. See if Jeremy can lock in. He's got to beat McDowell at 51.66. He does. 51.31 for Mayfield. He is 26th. He is in the show with 1 to go. And Eric McClure goes home. Let's check with Steve Burns. It is. That's good.
Last time he went on the apron, it didn't work out so good for him.
Not at all.
You know what I felt bad about that? You know, he ended up finishing 8th. They put him back to 18th.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even have time. What if he wanted to give the spot back? He didn't have time.
He only had about 100 feet to get it back.
So, I mean, I could have, you know, you go in there and you say, okay, well, you didn't win. Oh, well, I ran second. No, you didn't.
No. Well, yeah, they could have pushed it back 1 spot, but that's not the way the rule is written. So,
darn rules.
Now, Mike, one thing we want to point out about this 09 car with Brad Keselowski, As far as just pure single car runs by the go homers yesterday, he was the fastest of those 10 cars. And if you see, he's running all the way at the top of the racetrack. This is a car that was bought from Hendrick Motorsports, and it's a Hendrick engine. So it's pretty much a full Hendrick package with this 09 car.
Yeah, he ran 50.99 yesterday in a qualifying single car run.
So this car is owned by James Finch, but it is a full Hendrick package for
I don't know if he's going to get there from where he is right now, though.
He's running pretty much at the top of the racetrack, but you're right, Darrell. It looks like right now, if I had to guess, his first lap looks like it's going to be maybe in the 5180s, 5190s possibly.
Mark had a big time pickup. Not to make the race. I'm just talking about to have a shot at being up in the top 10 or so.
5181. So we know he'll bump Michael McDowell.
Yeah,
that's pretty much a given.
Hey, if you think it's hot in Talladega, tomorrow the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour runs up at Stafford, Connecticut. The race is called the Spring Sizzler. It's going to live up to its billing. It's going to be 89 degrees in Connecticut tomorrow.
That's the best. That's great racing weather, man. If you're a fan, I mean, you know, you pack the cooler, you get your food all in there and your drinks, and you get some sunscreen. Go out there and watch the boys put on a show.
That'll be fun.
Tell you what, he's working on becoming about the third go homer to get up in the top 10. It's not going to be a pole run. He missed the Daytona 500, but he's going to race here tomorrow. Brad Keselowski.
That'll give us 2 rookies in the top 10. Scott Speed 8th and Keselowski 9th.
So as practice showed us yesterday, Eric McClure in the 4, Michael McDowell in the 66 will not race tomorrow.